This dude will upgrade your skills as well over here, the guy I'm talking to. All right, let's go. Oh, I think you have to choose the mission.
You said
Ryan.
copper dust. You unlocked a memory when I was a kid. There was a kid who was 2 years older than me, and in grade school he was like the cool kid. And one day he wasn't at school, and I said, "Hey, you know, where's?" I'll just throw his name out there. Where's Brian at? And the teacher goes, "Well, he got injured." I go, "What did he get doing injured?" He's like, "Well, he went after school. He went into his garage, took a vice grip, put a battery in it, and beat it with a baseball bat, and and dust exploded everywhere."
What the hell, man?
So sorry.
When was this? This was like
Grade
90s?
school, and then I
boy.
just visualized him like being the microwave glow stick kid.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's a true story. He ended up being
That's
okay,
insane.
but don't do that at home. Sorry,
I mean,
you said
now-
copper
now
dust.
I know what'll happen.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a great connection.
I remember, like, I had a friend in 10th grade science class. We had a substitute teacher, and we were on those like lab benches with the sinks and the outlets. He took a copper wire and like stripped the rubber protector off of it, and then just shoved the end of the copper wire into the outlet. And, like,
Oh my god.
I've never seen it before. Like a fountain of sparks came out of the outlet and like scattered on the floor. And he jumped like 3 feet in the air, but the teacher didn't notice. I just remember being
Holy
like,
cow.
I almost saw a kid just die
Yeah.
in class for no reason.
God, that's like, I feel like that's among the worst things you can shove.
I don't know what he was thinking, man.
Oh,
That's wild.
what did you say to him after?
Well, I think I said, why did you do that? He just went like, I don't know.
Oh man.
He's doing some science, man. He didn't know what would happen.
And ever since then, I've been paranoid. I've been like, I'm very careful around outlets because I've seen the power that's, you know, like 1 nanometer past the entrance.
Have you seen the kid since he did that?
Oh yeah, for like the next 2 years of high school. He didn't really have any like lasting effects from it. He can shoot lightning bolts out of his hands now, but that's
I mean,
about
who
it.
can really, you know?
Oh man.
You guys as kids, or maybe even possibly as adults, ever stand in the shower and let the water run down your arm and pretend you're firing it out of your fingers?
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's my superpower.
Until my mom bangs on the door. Hey, what are you doing in there?
You wasted the water!
I don't think we're supposed to go this way.
Why do you think he stripped the wire? Why didn't he just stick the wire in the hole? Why would he
I don't
strip
know
the wire?
what was going through his brain, to be honest with you. I think that he was going through it, man.
I just want to know what this guy's doing now.
I think it's just, you know, as a kid, you sort of just go crazy now and then.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of, like, one of the dumbest things that I've done as a child. All I can really think of is, like, we would throw pencils up into the ceiling at school. Just because they had,
You ever
like,
get in trouble?
Yeah, well, I didn't like it, but we just kept doing it. Or like we would play tackle football as grade school children, and they were obviously like, don't play tackle, don't play like full contact tackle football. And we would be like, okay. And then they would leave, and then we would keep doing it. And so eventually they took the footballs, and so we would play with a Gatorade bottle.
Yeah, so you think the dumbest thing you did was like throw pencils into a ceiling?
I did something dumber than that. It's just the only thing that's occurring to me right now. Like I wasn't a dumb kid. I was just a bad kid. Like I was just like I was always skipping school and like being mean to the teachers because I sucked.
Really?
Yeah,
You were mean to teachers?
I was mean to teachers, and like I would like give them shit, and they would have to send me out of the hall. I was a bad kid. Like refused to take them seriously, and just like I wasn't being clever. I was giving them the kind of sass that you would expect from a middle schooler. and then they would just get tired of me. And it's just like I wish I could make it more entertaining than it is. It reflects on me very poorly, and that like I was just like the worst.
At that age. At that age.
Yeah.
Were you just bored? Do you think you were bored or just didn't like school?
I mean, that's the friendly way to say it. I think I just sucked. Like, I really think I just needed an attitude correction.
Yeah, I mean, it's the age, right?
Yeah, it's just.
I substitute taught like every grade, like kindergarten all the way up.
Yeah.
I would not step into a middle school. It's the toughest, man.
They're
It is
the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the elementary school kids, at least you can kind of give them like a pass on the innocence, right?
And they're
like,
scared.
just,
Like, if
they're-
you're like,
yeah.
we're gonna call your parents, they're like, oh, I'm gonna start acting right.
Yeah. But the middle schoolers, like, they just have
Middle
a little bit
schoolers
too
are
much
like, my
awareness.
dad works overseas anyway.
He's more powerful than you.
Yeah.
Bear, did you ever get
the thing.
suspended?
I got detention quite a bit.
Okay.
I
So you
think-
were like bad is like suspension.
Yeah,
So
no, I think
detention
I
is
was,
just like-
I was Mormon bad. Like I was what I thought bad was,
I hear
not
you.
like an actual bad kid. Did you guys ever do anything dumb as a kid? Like, did you get into trouble in school? I feel like Ryan never did, but I feel like
No,
Dan might have.
I definitely did.
You did? Oh, okay.
Well, like
Scandalous.
Dan knows this one already, but I was homesick from school one day, and then like the next day I skipped recess. This is the 3rd grade. I skipped
Yeah.
recess in order to like catch up on the work that I missed from the day that I was sick. And I was just eating like the lunch that my mom packed for me. There was some wheat thins, and I decided to just be a dickhead to the other kid in class who had behavioral problems. That's why he was inside of recess. I remember I said like, hey Kenny, do you want these wheat thins? And he was like, yeah. And I said, well, go get them. And then I just pitched him into the garbage can. And then he was justifiably, in hindsight, a little bit offended by that. And he took it upon himself to like tackle me, and I got knocked out of my chair and onto the floor, and then we were fighting. And then I remember being like dumbfounded that I got in trouble too.
Yeah.
Like the principal was like, "You're both in trouble," and I was like, "I didn't do anything."
I know. When Ryan was telling that, I was trying to think of like bad stuff I've done,
Yeah.
but none of it's like. I was just scared to get in trouble. I'd say like one of my favorite memories. I wasn't the one doing the bad stuff, but I was in computer class in middle school, and there's this kid named George, and we had Apple Macintoshes, not the ones with the green screen, but like the small white Macintoshes.
Yeah.
And there were speakers, and George figured out how to do text to speech, but this is like in the mid 90s. So he would turn the speakers, and our teacher was probably like 60, 65. Was like hard of hearing, so he would turn the speakers all the way up, and he would type in obscene words, and then do the Apple TTS. And then the guy, his name was Mr. Myers. He would go around the entire classroom yelling at everyone, trying to find whoever did the TTS.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And speaking of just being a bad kid too, like I straight up like so many teachers like in the days where they were just beginning to like make the transition over to digital record keeping, like they didn't realize that the kids had like some level of awareness of how that stuff worked too. So many of them would just leave their computers completely unattended with like the grading software just like sitting open on the desktop. I changed my own grade in like 4 classes through the course of
Holy.
junior high. Like,
That's fraud.
I just went and I straight up just changed it. Yeah, because it was just sitting right there.
But I'll tell you this, as a former teacher, I bet you never got caught. I would never like double
Yeah,
check
no,
grades.
dude,
Yeah.
I had that thought as a child. I was like, they're not gonna know. They don't have a memory of this. They trust the software. They trust their record keeping to have what they wrote down.
As long as you didn't get greedy, you didn't give yourself 100.
Yeah, I wasn't going like F to A. I was like D to B or something like that. The ones that are at least like, especially if I were to think of it in terms of like physically writing in the lines to change the grade. Like I had to have respect for my forefathers of cheating the system, so I kept it modest.
What made you think to do that? Like it was
the
just like, yeah, I mean,
opportunity. I walked past my teacher's desk and I saw that the grading software was open, and I was like, oh.
so basically you're like, hey, the teacher was just asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little too easy, dude. There was also a class where the teacher typed in, so it was I think it was like a keyboarding or like a computer class, one of those really early, just like basics of computing stuff. And the teacher leaned over and accidentally typed her master password into the username field on my PC one time. So later that day, I checked to see if she had changed it. Of course, she hadn't changed it. And so for the rest of that year, I had full access to the teacher's master account and like all of the assignments, where I was just like, dude, I did it a lot now that I think about it, because for that entire class too, like I would just go in, get the assignment, the finished version, and just turn that in because it was sitting right there. I wasn't a good student. I'm not a good role model for.
You should have at least gotten
behavior.
good grades in like the tech class then, because you were hacking.
Well, that was the tech class,
Yeah.
but like, if she had learned what I had done, maybe she would have respected it enough to give me, like at least a passing merit. I had PT at 7 a.m. as a freshman. That just doesn't seem ideal.
That is crazy. Did I ever tell you that like, the first day of high school, like I got on the school bus from my house at like, I don't even know, like 6:45 a.m. But I got on the bus at 6:45. School started at 8:15. The bus showed up at the school at 8:20. So I walked into period one gym class, and the teacher was like, "Why are you late?" And I was like, "Oh, the bus was late." And he said,
Yeah.
like, okay, nice excuse, but don't let it happen again. I'm like, brother, I'm like 13 years old, and I came here from 40 kilometers away. Like, what do you? It's not my. I can't make him go any faster.
Where were you living? 40 kilometers. That's like an hour drive.
Ride, dude.
We were out there in the sticks, man. It's a testament that there was even like a bus that would get us.
There wasn't a closer high school?
This was the closest high school. You live in America, you know what it's like.
Yeah, there's high schools everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Well, when there's houses everywhere, when your closest neighbor is like a kilometer away, extrapolate
he didn't
that
live
out into
in-
a circle.
What did you grow up on?
America.
You grew up on 300 acres and a couple of frogs, or what?
I grew up on 8 acres, not 300
8?
acres.
What were you doing out there?
What? I didn't buy the house, man. I was a little kid.
Well, what were you doing? Raising sheep?
I was
Did
mostly
you have
just.
farm animals?
A couple frogs out there.
There's some
What?
deer back there sometimes.
I didn't know you were a rural Andy.
I only talk about it every time you ask.
No, you said you grew up and your fun was going on top of your grandma's gravel pit.
Yeah, you live in you're not living in downtown Kingston, with a huge gravel pile that's like 30 feet high on your front lawn.
Wait, what did you do for fun on 8 acres as a kid?
I climbed on top of the gravel pile and slid down on the magic carpet.
Wait, what kind of stuff went down? I was never allowed to go on the
Nothing
bus.
went down.
Well, stuff went down on the bus. Whenever I asked him, can I go on the bus today? I was always, no, something was going down on these buses, and I need to know now.
What do you mean?
was
Who were you asking to get on the bus?
my
You didn't take
parents.
the bus?
Your parents said
No.
you can't take the school bus?
No, they drove me to school every day.
Huh.
That's
Why,
crazy. to me.
they thought that nefarious activities were constantly going down on the bus, and so
Well,
they
I-
didn't allow you to.
No, maybe because I went to Latchkey before school. Maybe the bus didn't run that early.
Ah.
But I always took it as I wasn't allowed to go on. But what kind of stuff was going on the bus? 'Cause I know there had some stuff had to be going down.
Usually there'd be like one kid like using a lighter to burn an impression of the lighter into the back of the seat.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys had the same thing, but like there were people on my school bus that were just like merciless to our bus driver, who was really
No, dude.
just doing
Actually-
his job and also like keeping us all alive.
We had like a lovely, wholesome relationship with our bus driver as kids.
See, that's
Like
great.
the kids were shitty, but they knew not to disrespect Frank, because everybody loved Frank, and he was such a nice guy, and he hardly said a word. But we would get off the bus and be like, "Bye, Frank." He'd be like, "Bye." That's the whole relationship, is just saying hi and bye to Frank. But it was just like everyone loved him. It
See,
was
that's
great.
great. But I wasn't involved, but I would just cover my head and like hope to not be the target myself, right?
Yeah.
But then like He would get into like screaming matches between the bus driver and like high school
that's
students,
terrible.
and you're like,
Jeez.
man, this is just not a good situation here.
Oh, I hate that.
What would the kids do to the bus driver?
They just make fun of him, call him bad names and stuff, and then
Why are you laughing?
because it's ridiculous to think back. It's a hostile work environment, bro. This dude is literally keeping us all alive, and people on the bus are like trying to goad him into having an emotional breakdown.
There was never like nothing happened on the buses, dude. Like buses have the same thing as the cafeteria where there's like clicks to the seating. I don't know if y'all had a similar experience. But,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
there's always,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, you got your different groups and different sections.
Lord
Cool
help
kids
you
in
if
the
you
back.
have to sit with the little kids at the front of the bus when
Right,
you're like
yeah.
15. You're sitting with
Exactly.
7-year-old kids. You're like, oh man, I'm never gonna recover from this.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Ryan,
asking
Ryan, you never lobbed a few names at the
I
bus
swear,
driver?
dude. I'll hit you with the. Do you want these, Kenny? Go get them. Like I did some of that, but I never talked back to the bus driver. He had enough like going on, man.
We're
Between
just shifting into park randomly just to frick with them.
I wouldn't even know how to shift the gears on a
I don't know how
on
to
a
work
bus,
a bus, dude.
honestly.
Did
I
you ever
feel-
bring the bus driver treats like cookies?
On Christmas, my parents would give him like a, I don't know, like a gift certificate or something.
To where?
I don't know, probably some business that went under like 27 years ago.
Wait, Ryan, when you grew up on Acreage, were there other kids around, or was it just you and Acreage?
The closest house was like a 5-minute bike ride away, but they did have a kid who was like 1 year younger than me, so we hung out all the time.
You still talk to him?
No, he's no longer half of 70.
Oh,
Well, Gary.
I appreciate that we've created a new euphemism.
Yes.
Events.
Little aerial mist for you. Look at this mist. Isn't it neat? Doesn't it make your uninstallation complete? Don't I look like the Pog who has everything? Sorry. What is it called? Javelin tackle. I want to yeet where the streamers are. I want to dolphin dive into tackle. Popping my ult when you do your, what is it called? Atomic punchline. Sorry. So, but I can't stop. I'm not gonna, just because I said sorry doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. Up where they pog, up where they stun, up where they spam mist all day for their fun. Wish I could